You ever get that feeling like something is different about how people treat you, but you can't quite put your finger on it? Maybe it's not something anyone says directly, maybe you're not hearing compliments or flirtatious lines thrown your way, but still there's this underlying energy around you like you're being watched, appreciated, maybe even desired. And the crazy part is it's silent, unspoken, but very real. Now most people think attraction is always loud and obvious, like compliments, grand gestures, physical affection, and sure, those things are great, but they're surface level, because the truth is some of the strongest signs of attraction are never said out loud. They're hidden, tucked into behavior, body language, subtle moments. And those moments often reveal more than any words ever could. And the real kicker is you might not even realize that you're giving off this kind of energy, the kind that silently pulls people in, especially women. And if you're a man who operates with quiet confidence, depth, and a sense of grounded purpose, then chances are you've been experiencing these signs without even knowing it. And that's where this conversation begins, because understanding these signs isn't just about validating yourself, it's about recognizing the emotional gravity you carry and how it influences the world around you. You see, attraction is not always about the way you look, it's about how you make someone feel around you, and most importantly, how you carry yourself when no one's watching. It's in the way you listen, the way you react to pressure, the way your eyes hold calm instead of chaos, the way you remain present in a world addicted to distractions. And when a woman senses that from you, when she feels like she can trust your presence, even if she doesn't verbalize it, something shifts, something changes in the dynamic. There's a quiet kind of magnetism that some men have, and it's not bought, it's not performed, it's lived and earned through awareness and how you show up in the small, everyday moments. Maybe she lingers a little longer when she talks to you, maybe her laugh is a little softer around you, or maybe her voice drops just slightly when she says your name. And even though she'll never say it straight to your face, her behavior, her energy, her presence is screaming that there's something about you she can't quite explain and yet can't ignore either. The fascinating thing is women are deeply intuitive. They pick up on subtleties that most men miss. They read your tone, your timing, your temperament. And when they notice a man who seems unfazed by the noise, who doesn't seek attention but commands it by simply being grounded, she's going to respond in kind, often unconsciously. And that's the type of attraction that doesn't need to be spoken to be understood. Maybe you're in a group setting and you notice that she naturally drifts closer to where you are, not in a pushy way, but like gravity's doing the work. Or maybe she mirrors your energy, your body language, your speech rhythm without even realizing it. And it's not because she's trying to impress you, it's because her nervous system trusts you, and that is where real attraction lives. She might ask you questions that seem deeper than usual, not just what you do for a living, but what drives you, what your family is like, what you think about late at night. And when she asks those things, she's trying to get under the surface, trying to understand what kind of man you really are. And if she keeps looking at you when she doesn't need to, if she smiles just a little too long, if she finds excuses to be near you even in the smallest ways, then she's already saying it all without ever saying a word. It's in the small shifts, the body turning toward you even when others speak, the subtle fixing of her hair or her sleeves as you walk, by the way she teases you more than others or challenges your opinions, not because she disagrees, but because she wants to connect, and she's hoping you'll engage deeper. And the wild part is you might write this off as coincidence or friendliness, but it's not, because true attraction doesn't shout. It whispers, and if you're paying attention, those whispers say everything. Let's talk about your voice, not the pitch or accent, but the presence within it. When you speak with intention, when your words are measured, not rushed, when your voice holds space rather than fills it, women notice that, and they respond to it, because it's rare to find a man who speaks because he has something to say, not because he's trying to be heard. And when she hears you speak and feels more safe, more understood, more intrigued, that's one of the clearest signs that your presence moves her in ways she might not fully understand herself. There's also something about emotional restraint, not the kind where you shut down or become cold, but the kind where you don't need to prove yourself constantly, where you don't chase validation, where you know who you are and your worth doesn't fluctuate with who likes you. And that emotional stability is a rare trait, and women recognize it quickly. And even if they never compliment it directly, they'll show it through how much they lean into you, through how often they reach out when they're emotionally overwhelmed or unsure, because they know you won't flinch. The way you handle challenge is another quiet sign of deep attractiveness, not in how loud or aggressive you become, but in how still you stay when something doesn't go your way, when others panic, but you think, when others react, but you breathe that kind of control as deeply. Magnetic and makes people, especially women, feel safe, without understanding why they do, even if she never says it, even if there's no direct confession or flirtation. The way her eyes linger when you're not looking, the way she asks about your well-being after a long day, the way she listens when you speak and remembers things most people forget, those are the signs she's drawn to something real, and whether she shows it openly or keeps it to herself, you've already made an impression that she carries in the background of her mind. And what's powerful is when you start to notice these signs not as ego boosts, but as evidence that your quiet depth has real influence. You begin to trust yourself more, not in an arrogant way, but in a peaceful, grounded way. You realize you don't need to chase what's already being drawn to you naturally because of how you live, how you treat people, and how you hold your energy. So the next time you feel like you're just being ordinary, pay attention to how people react when you walk in the room, how she shifts her mood when you're near, how she becomes a little more open, a little more present, a little more playful, and maybe even a little more nervous, because sometimes the strongest attraction is the kind that hides in comfort, in familiarity, in small, beautiful silences between words. Now here's something most men overlook. When you're irresistibly attractive, it's often not what you add, but what you remove. You don't need to exaggerate, you don't need to overtalk, you don't need to constantly seek attention. And that restraint is a form of strength that signals security and leadership, and women pick up on that more than you'll ever know. And even if they don't say it, the way they trust you with their stories, the way they ask your opinion, the way they smile when you speak, it all reveals what words often fail to express. And if you want to know if you're truly irresistible, watch how she acts. When she's not trying to impress you, watch how she relaxes around you, opens up, asks deeper questions, and lets herself be a little more authentic. That's the gold standard of attraction. When someone feels like they can stop performing and still be drawn to your energy, that's where the truth lives. Because deep down, women crave more than looks, more than money, more than flash. They crave connection. They crave safety. They crave that calm strength that only comes from a man who knows himself and walks through the world like he belongs without needing to prove it. And if that sounds like you, or even a version of you you're growing into, then trust this: you are more attractive than you realize. And even if she never says it, her presence will. And here's where the story really deepens, because the most irresistible men are the ones who remain unaware of their own effect, not because they're blind, but because they're not obsessed with it. Their attention is elsewhere, on building their purpose, mastering their craft, showing up for their values. And when a man is lost in something greater than himself, his energy shifts. It becomes magnetic in ways he doesn't even realize. Women feel that when they're around you, they feel it in the way you're not constantly trying to win them over, in the way your focus isn't on games, but on growth. And it's that rare balance of humility and strength that creates the strongest pull, the type of attraction that transcends the surface and dives into the emotional core, where real connection happens, even if she never says it, even if she holds back or keeps her feelings tucked away. The truth is in the unspoken, how she reacts when you compliment someone else, how she remembers the smallest things you've said, how she looks at you when you're helping someone else. And there's that moment when she's watching and she's quiet, but her eyes say everything. Her heart is listening, even if her lips are silent. And maybe it's the way she touches your arm just a little longer than necessary, or the way her voice softens when she greets you. Maybe it's how she finds a reason to text you late at night, not with an agenda, but just to talk, to hear your voice, feel your energy. Or maybe it's in how she becomes protective of you, notices when you're off, checks in when others don't, because to her you're more than just another guy. You're someone whose presence matters to her, even if she can't explain why, and you don't need her to say it out loud. Because when you live with this kind of depth, when you embody that rare mix of calm and strength, when you show emotional availability without being needy, when you challenge her in the right moments and support her in the hard ones, your very existence becomes a quiet reminder of the type of connection she didn't realize she craved. Sometimes the real sign of attraction is how she grows around you. When a woman starts becoming a better version of herself, when she becomes more expressive, more grounded, more confident, because your energy gives her room to unfold, that's something no words can capture. And that's a mark only an irresistible man leaves behind. Not through control, but through presence, through respect, through the kind of steady masculine energy that gives her space to bloom. And if you're sitting there wondering if this is really you, think about the times people leaned in when you weren't even trying. Think about how often people trust you with their truth, how many times someone has looked at you not for validation, but for grounding, for comfort, for clarity. Because that's what attractive men really provide, not chaos, not games. Not manipulation, but consistency, reliability, and quiet strength. You become the calm in her storm, the one she wants to confide in, the one whose opinion she values, the one she wants to impress, not because you asked her to, but because being seen by you feels different, it feels real. And when she feels seen, heard, and understood, even without grand gestures, that's when her heart begins to shift and her attraction becomes deeper than desire. It becomes emotional connection, and emotional connection is where true chemistry is born. She might never say you're irresistible, she might never put it into words, but her body language, her tone, her presence, her attention all speak louder than any confession. She gives you her vulnerability, her trust, her gaze. And when a woman gives you that, you don't need to hear the words to know what you are to her, you feel it. So, if you've ever felt confused by her silence, by her mixed signals, or her hesitations, look deeper. Not everything attractive is loud, not every desire is declared. Some of the most powerful signs are hidden in stillness, in familiarity, in those rare moments when she's just herself around you. And those are the moments that tell you exactly what she's feeling. And remember this, the kind of man who is truly irresistible is not the one who needs to chase validation, it's the one who creates safety, who inspires trust, who shows up without needing applause, who walks in integrity when no one is watching. And when a woman meets that man, her instincts will tell her everything she needs to know, and even if she never speaks it out loud, her soul will lean toward him again and again. So don't be distracted by loud compliments or performative affection. Look for the way she acts when you're just being yourself, when she relaxes into you, when she lights up a little more around you, when she checks in just to make sure you're okay, when she gives you her attention without asking for it back, when she lingers in a room you're in without needing a reason. Those are the signs, and they're more honest than any spoken word, because in the end, being irresistibly attractive isn't about being perfect, it's about being real, about being steady. About being a man who brings peace, not pressure, who offers space, not control, who listens without judgment, who leads without arrogance, and who holds himself to a standard even when no one is watching. That's the kind of man who doesn't just attract women, he inspires them. And even if she never says a word, her energy, her actions, and her consistent return to your presence will say it all. And when you learn to see those signs clearly, you'll stop questioning your worth, you'll stop chasing affirmation, you'll realize you already are the kind of man who makes an impact just by being who you are. So stay grounded, stay purposeful, stay present, and the right people, especially the right woman, will always feel drawn to you, not because you tried to impress her, but because you chose to be someone real. And in a world of noise and performance, that kind of presence is the most attractive thing there is.